are live. Let's see here. Hopefully you guys can hear me right now. It looks like you guys can hear me. So this is going to be a little bit of an experiment of me reading scripts and giving feedback. So I get a lot of people who want me to read scripts for them, but I don't. It's hard for me to read one person's script because I feel like there's a lot of problems that can be solved in one script that can be solved in multiple other scripts. And so I wanted to be able to, try and create some more learning on my channel by reading other people's scripts and actually, having you guys engage with that as well. Let me make sure. Okay, so it seems like you guys can hear me. Fantastic. But yeah, so we are just gonna jump into this. So my hope for these streams. So I saw a few people asking before I went live if I'm going to do these regularly. That is the goal. So the goal right now, at least, is to try and do these once a week or so. Because I want to be able to, read scripts and help people. And I think this can be a good platform to be able to just talk about screenwriting more and about, specific things that I don't really get to cover in my videos because those are more, focused and edited and built over time. Whereas here, I feel like I have the, it's just a different environment so that I can actually talk about some things that I think are important that I don't necessarily get to in a video and that sort of thing. And also I feel like, sometimes I read a script and I really think of something on the spot. I'm like, oh, this is a great talking point. This is a great problem that they're having that I feel like can be solved. And, I just want to talk about that. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So right now I have 43 scripts submitted to me, something like this. So that is a ton. I'm also going to do my best to keep up with chat. I have you guys on my phone here right now. So I'm going to do my best to keep up with chat as much as possible while I'm doing this. And, hopefully I can talk to you guys and provide feedback and just sort of get used to this. This is a first stream. Again, there's going to be some hiccups and some problems most likely. So just, be prepared for that. And, yeah, so, okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and hop into this. So the first guy who sent me a script is Mark Slavic. So he said that this is a short film that got selected as a finalist in a festival. And so let me go to this. So hopefully you guys can see this here. So, I'm kind of doxing him there. All right, I'll make sure to not put up people's, title pages up next time. Sorry about that, Mark. So essentially what I'm going to be doing is, okay, this is about 15 pages, if not counting the title page. So essentially what I want to be doing here is reading pretty quickly, or, stopping at different points while I'm reading and, giving a note or talking about, once I get to the end or once I get to a big stopping point is just, come back and sort of largely talk about, what I felt this script worked, what I felt didn't, and, hopefully provide some legitimate actionable feedback for the people in this. So, yes, to people who are asking, I am still taking emails. You can continue to email me. I know I'm not going to get to all these scripts today. I have no idea how many I'm going to get to in this stream, but you can continue to email that email. I do want to be doing more live streams. I do want to try to help as many people as possible. Yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and get into this right here. Okay, so I like his first page in the sense of you're establishing this sort of factory concept, this massive building. This is a good start. You're sort of just scene setting here. Okay. Okay, so I do not like this right here. So this piece of dialogue, page 2 pages in. I mean, I guess I can read aloud if that's actually a good idea. I can read out loud. So my bad. All right, so I'll do that. My bad. So this right here, inside here, there are millions of machines of strong and powerful workers that keep going with no rest, 24 hours, 7 days a week. This is straight up just exposition right in this dialogue. We're not really it doesn't really affect us at this point because it doesn't really affect our characters. We don't really have characters yet other than this guy, Louis Burke. So, we're just getting straight information out of this, which is not necessarily good, but I'm going to keep reading. So, and do you want to know why? Because this workers we have inside don't need a salary, don't need food or health insurance or anything. The crowd cheers once more. Pull out to interior living room continuous. A hand changes the TV channel with a remote. It is Oliver Jans. On the TV, the news is on. I would definitely, there's a couple of points. I mean, just work on your grammar. Now, I'm not a big... You will never find me being like, oh, your spelling or your grammar or your script format is the most important thing. But it's not hard to do right. So just do it right and continue. You know what I'm saying? Focus on, actually writing a story, but also fix your grammar. Make sure there's no spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes in what you're writing. On the TV, the news is on. The TV is old from year 2000, still the box behind. Reporter. The world is changing this very instant. We are living history. Today, Louis Berg finally revealed his Oliver changes the channel. Here behind me and you can see the building of the fact he changes the channel again. Oliver sighs, annoyed. I'm not going to butcher French for you guys. Really, more things to buy as if there weren't enough. Hooray for the American dream. Yeah. He claps 2 times, strongly, slowly. One last time, he changes the channel. There's music, a waltz, a couple dances on the screen. Oliver subtly dances to the music. His body and face are revealed. 42 years old, black blazer, gray pants, and a tie. Very elegant, thin build, not much muscle, tired, and long face. I would, just make this more grammatically strong. It's very simple. 1 day beard, green eyes, wavy hair, messy. Montage. Okay, so we're montaging on page 3. All right, so... Okay, first off, I would say generally avoid montages as much as possible. I don't have to read, so when you're doing a montage, right, you need to ask yourself, what is the purpose of a montage? What is the reason that you are montaging? Because usually people are montaging because they don't really have something to say other than just giving the audience expositional information, right? So right now we're 3 pages into this script and I don't know, I have no idea. So Oliver is clearly our main character, right? I really don't know very much about him. I don't, I understand that he's sort of annoyed with this factory thing, this and that, which, we can see that further. But what I would say is so montage, interior, house continuous, no audio, the music continues. Oliver in the kitchen serves himself a cup of coffee and drinks it quickly. He smiles and moves to the music's rhythm. He goes to the bathroom, washes his teeth, again following the rhythm. Oliver sits in his small circular table beside the kitchen. He reads the news. Okay. So I don't really think we're learning that much here about Oliver. We're learning he enjoys music, which could potentially be a setup for a payoff later on, but I don't think, we're not really actually learning, I think, important elements of who this character is at this point in the story. And so at this point, 3 pages in, we have been given a ton of exposition for what this factory is, and then watched Oliver watch the news, and we've described him. So in the sense of narrative drama going on, I don't really have any idea of like sort of what Oliver wants, what really this story is going to be about. Obviously, it's still early in, and if this was a feature-length script, I would be harping on this less because that's 100 pages, but this is going to be 16 pages. So we are already sort of deep into the story so far, and I think it would be, essentially, I would say, cut the fat here, and we need to be sort of in the zone of this, I think, as quickly as possible, because I think right now we're just getting straight exposition without any of the drama that's attached to it. And actually, pretty soon I'm going to be releasing a video on exposition and, how to make it work. So, look out for that. Bluey is saying that montages are creative use to show the passage of time, sort of. But, okay, this bug is in the way. I'm sorry. Sort of, but that's not really... the problem with a lot of montages is that they're not actually dramatically relevant, right? They are just showing us information or showing us the passage of time. If you need to show passage of time, I think, sometimes there's better ways to do that, or you need to think about what in the passage of time is going to be like narratively important, right? So if there's really nothing that's going to be narratively important, I think the idea would be to move on, to see whether or not you actually need that piece. Anyways. People have been asking me also if there's a page limit. Ideally, 15 pages and under is what I'm going to be shooting for. This one's a little longer. Ideally, 15 pages and under, and I need to actually start getting into this so I can give, some larger feedback. All right. Oliver opens the door harshly. There's no one outside, just a magazine on top of the mat. He picks up the magazine that reads Good Life Catalog, presented, fix your spelling, my bro, by the factory. Really, this is why someone bothered me? A magazine, title, The Factory. He closes the door. Interior house, continuous. Oliver goes to his room and throws the magazine on top of his bureau. The furniture breaks. He tries to fix it, fails. Bro, fix your spelling. How convenient. I have a catalog, now I have to buy a new bureau. Long live consumerism. He grabs a catalog, opens it, and leafs through it. He dials a number on his cell phone and calls it. Okay. Hi, I want to order a product. That number. Yes, thank you for your order. The product will arrive soon. Okay, so we're for... hold on, I'm going to keep reading. The doorbell sounds. Oliver opens the door. There's a man outside with a box. Delivery for Oliver Jan. Sign here, please. Oliver signs and grabs the box. He closes the door. Interior bedroom morning. Oliver steps down from the bed. He dresses the only thing he has, gray pants, black blazer, and a tie. He goes to the kitchen and prepares himself a coffee with his only cup and a toasted slice of bread that he puts on his only plate. He sits down at the kitchen table to eat. He goes back to his room and grabs his keys. That's a cheap piece of wood came damaged, if it's even wood. There's a small scratch on the outside of his drawer. He touches it, upset. Okay, hold on. Okay, so, look. Tyler, bro, fix your spelling. I mean, but actually, fix your spelling. Like, grammar and fix your spelling. It's not hard. Spell check exists. So, what? Okay. We're 6 pages into a 16-page script, and we're talking about a guy assembling a piece of furniture, right? What does he want? Okay, this is a big thing, right? Have you, if you've watched my videos on character, one of the biggest things that we need to understand going into a story is what does your main character want? Okay, I have no idea what this guy wants. This Oliver guy wants. I don't know, like, largely. He's talked, he's made some slight comments about consumerism. He's made, like these sort of things. But now we're spending multiple pages of him just on the phone, trying to get this thing solved. I don't think it's very compelling. Like I think you're trying to like set up this frustration, and I think you're also trying to set up like this, you know, sci-fi universe. But I think this needs to happen quicker in a 16-page script. But I'm gonna continue reading. All right. So, okay. So Oliver dials 2. Answering machine on the phone. For returns, dial 1. For damages and complaints, dial 2. For doubts, Oliver dials 2. For technology products, pissed off, arg, this is a waste of time. For furniture, dial 2. Cleaning, Oliver dials 2. Please wait while an operator takes your call. We remind you that for future calls, you can just dial 0 to be directly attended by an operator and skip the orientation menu. Sounds... Oliver sits down on his bed. He waits for 5 minutes. Good morning. Thank you for calling the factory. My name is Christine. How can I help you today? Oliver stands up, walks around again. Good morning. The problem is that I received furniture yesterday, and the cheap thing came already broken. You people want us to buy something new every second, don't you? Please describe the damage, please. He goes near the bureau drawer. Oliver stares at it a few seconds. On the front part of it, on the front part of it, the outside of the drawer, there's a scratch. It seems as someone made it with his nails. Okay, anything else? No, that's all. Perfect. Could you remind me your name? I never told it, but Oliver Jans. Oliver Jans, here I have your information. Froman Street, number 967. So we're talking about the article you ordered yesterday, the bureau. Item, that number. Excellent. In a few minutes, someone will replace the furniture for a new one. Have a nice day. Oliver hangs up. He walks to the sofa. He sits down. All of a sudden, the doorbell sounds. Oliver steps up, walks to the door, opens it. Outside, there's a young man, 25 years old, uniformed. The uniform has a label that reads The Factory. Behind him, there's a cardboard box and a white delivery truck. Good morning, Oliver. The Factory Delivery. I'm here to pick up the bureau and give you a new one. Yes, it's for me. Do I take you where the bureau is? Please don't touch anything. The two men walk over to Oliver's bedroom. They take everything out of the bureau. They carry it outside with difficulty. They leave it on the back of the truck. Could you sign here? The man extends the papers. Oliver grabs them. He grabs the pen from the man's hand and signs, gives everything back. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye. Oliver builds the new bureau. He goes to his bedroom. It's 21 o'clock. Or 2100 military time. I saw that you aren't American, so I'll forgive you for your grammar mistakes. But... Or not English, whatever. But, yeah, spell check. He goes to sleep. Interior Oliver's room. Oliver wakes up. He stands up from his bed, gets dressed, very elegant as always, grabs a pair of glasses he has inside the bureau drawer. There's something written inside the drawer. Reads, look up or locked up. I'm not sure. Oliver observes the message with attention. He looks behind the bureau to see if there is something else written. Reads, it's a lie. Oliver leans on the wall, quiet. He doesn't move, inhales deeply, exhales slowly with his eyes closed. Okay, so you're starting to sort of build up a lean in here. I would say this, I guess I need to keep reading, but this sort of lean in here where we are now learning about... that this thing is weird and this and that. Like, why not make this page 3, right? Or page 2, where, if you're thinking about a story in the idea of you go from a character who enters an unfamiliar situation, right? So the unfamiliar situation is right here, right? So 7 pages into this story, we're entering the unfamiliar situation for this character, where now is the first time they're like actually realizing that something is weird in their world. Whereas before this, it was just, a piece of furniture. And so by moving this up in the script, now we can get the lean in, and now we can actually get into the drama of this story, because now we're actually exiting the character's regular world, and now we're actually entering the story world, because this is the lean in of the story. Montage. Oliver grabs his phone and dials. Thank you for calling the factory. The future. Oliver dials 0. Good morning. I would like to order. Oliver walks. Good afternoon. Could I order you a... Oliver squats down, talking on the phone. I'm going to order a table. The doorbell sounds. Oliver opens the door. A young man delivers him a box. The doorbell sounds. Oliver takes a sip of coffee. Opens the door. Woman delivers him a box. The doorbell sounds. Oliver opens the door. Smiles. The doorbell sounds. An old man passes with a box inside the house. Oliver opens a box. Builds a table. Oliver builds a chair, a shelf, a closet. Oliver takes notes on the writing. The notebook reads, "They'll kill OS. SASLABES. Lie. Get me UT. Burke. Bad. Interior kit." Okay, so like this piece of the montage here, is kind of interesting because you're still building on this concept. But all of this, I think, should be happening way earlier in the script. This is really where the story begins. So, if we're not learning things that are actually going to be that interesting or affect us that much about Oliver, that he likes to listen to music in different rooms, for example, we need to be here as fast as possible. We need to be in the lean in. We need to be in the drama of him now, because, okay, now your character has a want, right? Now your character is sort of like trying to figure out what this mystery is that they've been given through these different pieces of furniture. And that's where things could potentially get interesting. And where, you should start on page 2 or 3 of your short script. Let's see. No, I don't think, David, I don't think page 3 is too soon on a short script. Actually, it may be too late. You have to think about, it depends, okay? You have to think about what you have to set up, In this story, what he has set up, what Mark has set up so far is simply that there's this factory that has these, robots in it, from our understanding, and Oliver is a guy buying furniture. That's the main stuff we know. We haven't really learned massively important facts in the beginning of the story, and so it actually is important for us to get to the drama quickly in this particular story right here. All right. Interior kitchen, table, night. Oliver has a notebook and a pen. He writes, concentrated, standing up. A small lamp illuminates the room. To himself as he writes it down. They tricked you, lied to you. You were promised a better future, a future in which there would be no underpaid or abused workers. You were promised an automated future where there wouldn't be any violation of human rights. The factory, the great promise of the future, is a lie. There are no autonomous machines inside, nor is it magic. Yes, the cost of the salaries is eliminated, but not the employees themselves. There are slaves in there who are suffering and dying for your comfort. You're very comfortable, but at the cost of the lives of others. Well done, America, once again. Okay. Oops. All right, I'll get back to that. But that concept is good. We'll get back to it. Oliver keeps writing. He drops the pen, rips out the page, folds it, and tucks it into an envelope, writes news. Interior, living room, day. Oliver watches television standing. The news is on. Last minute news. The factory is a lie. We've received an anonymous letter with evidence that inside the factory there aren't machines, but instead slaves that are being tortured and abused for us to have low prices. Oliver changes the channel. It's viral. The factory is a scam. Will Louis Berg get arrested? Oliver changes the channel. Everywhere around the web, there's the news that the factory is a scam. Probably will return to the way things were before. Oliver turns the TV off, smiles, closes his eyes, and dreams fade to black. Interior, living room, day. Dream sequence. Okay. So, I would suggest heavily staying away from dream sequences in your stories. Just as a general rule of thumb, no matter your writing level, generally stay away from dream sequences. Off the top of my head, I cannot think of a single good dream sequence in a movie. The problem is dream sequences essentially do one of two things, right? They dress up exposition as, a dream. And so we see sort of like these visions and these ideas and this and that, but it doesn't really affect the story usually because, it is just an exposition dump or something like this. You know, obviously there are exceptions, but I think you can look at some great examples like Star Wars. The recent Star Wars films have this tendency to, like in Force Awakens, there where Rey touches the lightsaber for the first time, and she like sees all these visions, which is, you know, very similar to a dream sequence. You know, this isn't really affecting the story very much as it is giving us all these like clues and hints that we haven't really earned because they're just being dumped on us in a dream sequence. I would generally avoid dream sequences. Inception. So Inception is good. Okay, so the reason that Inception is different is because there are actual consequences to what they're doing inside. Same with what is it? A Christmas Carol. So in Inception, one, they can actually die, which is a point that they speak about, which essentially makes it narratively not a dream anymore. If you can die in the dream, it's not a dream. Like, at least like narrative wise, because then anything that happens in that dream can actually, you know, happen in real life, or, you know, there are real life consequences to the dream, which makes it, you know, real again. And that's the real issue, is that a lot of dream sequences in stories, there are no consequences to what happens. It's just a dream sequence. It's a vision. It's exposition. It's this sort of thing. And so also in Inception, the goal is to plant, you know, this, you know, idea into a person's mind that affects the real world. And so you have all of the like core narrative mechanics in place for Inception to essentially not truly be a dream film. So don't necessarily get attached to the idea that it's a dream, but the fact is that when it's a dream, it's usually consequenceless and usually an exposition dump or this sort of thing. And so because of that, generally, I would avoid them in your stories. Yes, there are still stakes in Inception, and that is why, you know, Inception still works. Same with like a Christmas Carol, where the dreams that he has actually end up affecting his real life, and that's sort of the biggest change. But generally, you know, I would avoid them as much as possible. So let's continue. Dream sequence. Someone knocks on the door strongly. Oliver wakes up. Oliver Jans, are you here? Open up. Oliver quickly stands up from the sofa and walks to the door. He reaches over to grab the doorknob, trembling. He opens the door. Louis Burke enters the house. Oliver steps back quickly and tries to protect himself. You are going to die, Oliver. The man I'm staring at right now is going to die. What were you thinking? I'm sorry. Please don't hurt me. Please. Louis stares at Oliver with threatening eyes. Then he laughs. Don't worry, Ver. I'm not here to harm you. I'm just joking around. Did you see your face? I actually nearly killed you of a heart attack. I don't actually care about what you did. Seriously, let me show you something. Come with me. They both step out of the house. Oliver is very pale, recovering color slowly. Exterior street, continuous. Louis and Oliver walk together. They're going to the factory. I must say, you dress like a complete gentleman. Where are we going? Why are you doing this? Can't we just talk? Have a friendly chat? Friendly. Oliver looks at him with threatening eyes. You question everything, don't you? We're going to the factory. I want you to see the inside. What? There aren't any slaves? No, of course there are. You were right. But do you really think you can harm me? Let me tell you something. No one cares. Do you honestly think that everyone finding out would change something? No. Give it a couple weeks and everything will be back to normal. And I'll be making more money than ever. That's life, my friend. Okay, this part is really good. Conceptually, I'll talk about it in a second, though. They arrive at the side of the enormous concrete building. There's a 4-meter-high double door. As a guard opens it, making a small nod to Louis with his head. Interior, the factory, continuous. They step in. The place is gigantic, around 50 stories of metal structure, each with 3 elements: machines, material, and slaves. The sound of thousands of machines working full power resonates in the entire building. Welcome to the chocolate factory, where the magic's done. What do you think? A cry is heard from one of the upper floors. A man standing in the middle of the first floor fires his gun to the ceiling. You know the rules. Make a sound and it'll be your last. Mr. Burke is here. Show some respect. Louis taps on his shoulder. Calm down, it's fine. I don't want you to punish them in front of me. You know I don't like it. How the hell do you do this? How the hell can you live with this inside your conscience? Calm down, Ver. The answer to your question is actually pretty easy. First of all, I'm giving them a job, a better opportunity that the effed up country they come from did. But more truly, I don't care. We live in a world where the money is we live in a world where it's all about money, and where if something doesn't affect us, we simply don't care. Do you really think you're the only one that has seen the messages these slaves wrote? No, but no one but you cared. Everyone knows the truth, but we just decide to ignore it. Let me tell you something about how the world works. All of a sudden, the lights turn off. Then a light turns on, pointing to the 10th floor, where Lewis is now holding a cane. He starts snapping his fingers at a beat. As a kid, you believe in all of your dreams. You grow up and you see that money is the greatest of regimes. You may think that you care, you may think that you're above, but it doesn't affect. You won't give a damn. From different places, color lights turn on. Dancers enter from every level, and perfectly coordinated start making a routine. Music sounds joyful and loud, some kind of jazz with pop mixed around. So there are slaves, I admit, and I'm wrong, I insist, but people don't care if there is. A man puts a coat on Oliver. Oliver tries to take it off, but the man doesn't let him. I could give everyone a disease, but the thing that they'll ask simply, is it cheap? Poor people, you may think, that's horrible. You persist. But they're kids from Malaysia and adults from Congo, all very poor people that don't even matter to me. Music slows down. And I know it's not fair, but let me tell you, I don't care as long as the prices are there. Let's now look at you. Let's now look at your life to prove you don't care. From the cereal in your table to the computer in your desk, those workers who made them. Be sincere, are they well? No, they're not. Music stops and there's a silence. Let's see. It's easy and it's quick. It's comfy and it's cheap. With the better high quality and design for the rich. Everything you want, you can, and you wish in front of your door before you can blink. It's simpler and it's better. I'm sorry, but whatever. Music plays again. Lewis comes down and puts a hat on Oliver and hands him a beautiful black watch. Oliver wears both happily. He smiles and moves to the rhythm. So there are slaves, I admit, and I'm wrong, I insist. But people don't care if there is, and that's simply and completely. It's just not fair, but it's easy. That's how the world works. Lewis holds the note a few seconds. I know you guys wish I'd sing for you, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to. The music ends, the lights go off, leaving the place in darkness. Lewis, while looking at his phone, not bad, 5 million views. Fade into black. Okay. Interior kitchen day. Oliver wakes up on the sofa, altered, sweaty. He's cold. Tries to cover himself with something, but there isn't anything around. He checks his head for a hat, but there's nothing except hair. He checks his wrist for a watch, but once again, nothing. He stands up and makes himself a coffee. Oliver gets angry. He throws his cup to the ground. He accommodates his elbow on the table and his fist on his forehead. What the hell happened? Oliver stands up quickly. No. Oliver stands up and destroys everything. His plate, his kitchen, his couch, his television. I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of not having anything. He walks to the mirror outside the kitchen. He stares at himself angrily, pointing at his reflection. What the heck did you do, stupid Oliver? Stop it now. He puts his forehead on the mirror, breathing very closely to it. Don't you dare become that kind of a person. Workers from the factory enter Oliver's house and start replacing everything he has with new and improved furniture and decoration. Meanwhile, a person puts a coat on Oliver, a hat, hands him a watch, which he wears. You are not like that. You care, Oliver. Take that off. Now, stop. Oliver steps back slowly, while his reflection keeps screaming at him. Oliver, don't. Please don't. You don't need it. You really don't. Oliver is already 2 meters away from the mirror. I want it. Oliver walks to the living room while the workers finish everything. Everyone leaves except Oliver. He sits in his new sofa, turns on the new TV, unties his new tie, unbuttons his new blazer, leans his arms on the side, puts his feet up on the new table. He watches the TV. There's music on the TV, the melody of the song sang by Lewis. Oliver smiles, the camera pulls out, and we fade to black. All right. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Okay, so I don't know, how much you've watched my videos and this sort of thing, but one thing I've talked about a lot in my video on the purpose of conflict and how to create conflict, and my characters videos, is about, the struggle of philosophical conflict and the struggle with your characters' beliefs, where you place different characters as different parts of a philosophical conflict, and then you have those beliefs interact throughout a story, and that creates character arcs, that creates change, that creates a lot of your conflict. And so one thing I want to commend you on here is the fact that this story has philosophical conflict, right? So essentially what you're attacking in this story is, consumerism, the fact that people don't care about other people as long as they get what they want. And this is a great idea to study. And so let me take this off real fast. So that in and of itself, like, I like that part a lot. Like, that concept I think is really good. I think you have something there. What I don't like is essentially how you have built this into the story. So essentially, imagine a version of this story where rather than Oliver having his major philosophical change happen through a dream sequence, what if Oliver went to the factory, right? What if Oliver had to talk to some of his friends who, are completely buying things from this factory, that don't care, that even when he, reveals to them that it is, actually slaves inside, that they don't seem to care. And so, Oliver can feel like very alone in this. And I think would be a lot more interesting if, Oliver goes to the factory, right? Like, this new factory exists, and, it's this sort of this futuristic type idea, sort of. And Oliver can go to this. It seems like he could go and check it out. And I think that actually would create a much more active protagonist, because what we have here is, for most of the story, pretty much all the story, Oliver is sitting back. He's not really doing things. He's like barely even trying to find out that, that there's actually slaves inside, or confirm that there are slaves, and this sort of thing. And so by forcing Oliver to go to the factory, by forcing Oliver to actually follow up on these messages that he's got through these different pieces of furniture, I think you create something much more compelling, because then Oliver can actually go to the factory, and we can potentially have an actual confrontation with, what was his name? Lewis, I believe. But actually have it in person and not in this dream, because theoretically, Lewis is not actually in this dream. He's essentially singing his philosophy. He's singing his philosophical idea to Oliver in this dream, but we're not actually seeing Oliver and his main antagonist, sort of have to deal back and forth with the reality of this factory. So what I would say mainly is, okay, first off, I know you may have thought I came a little hard on some of the grammar stuff and this sort of thing. And look, really what I'm saying here is the core of your idea. Okay, what I think you should do, in my opinion, is that you should come back to the core, which is you have this philosophical conflict, right? You have this consumerism mentality. You have this idea that nobody cares, that, people in other nations make goods on cheap, and this is like a serious issue, like a real thing that we are experiencing in the world. And so that's great. Like, you have that. And a lot of stories don't have that. Most don't, especially short scripts. A lot don't. And so that's fantastic that you have that. So what you need to do is, and now that you have, different characters who have these philosophical ideas, like, make them play out in real life. Don't just, I don't know if you're trying to, like, shoot this for real. So if you are, then obviously it's going to be, like, if you're trying to shoot this on a low budget, for example, it's definitely going to be difficult to, go to a massive futuristic factory on a low budget. But in the sense of writing a short script on paper, let Oliver go to the factory. Make Oliver an active protagonist. Make Oliver, see that there's furniture, like there's code, and people are trying to contact him through this, and he goes to the factory. He tries to shut things down or confront this Lewis in person rather than in a dream. I think you can create a much more active protagonist, and I think that putting the beginning where he actually is starting to, understand that this actually is slaves and not automated robots. Put that way earlier, put that on page 2, put that on page 3. This is a 15-page script. I think that will make such a stronger story for you, and I think it'll be much more compelling to a reader. And I think you can do that in, like a short period of time. I made a video on Dan Harmon's story circle and how, you can apply it to scenes and short scripts and this sort of thing. I really think it's this is, just about the same length as, say, a Rick and Morty episode, right? That Dan Harmon and his writing team writes that. So, take a look at one of those episodes and how, they actually are very active and how they're moving towards a specific goal or desire or whatever throughout that story. So, yeah, I think, again, you're the first one. I think it's awesome that you sent this in to me. I really think, I actually do think you have something that you can actually work with here and, really make something out of this. I think that's absolutely possible. Wow. Okay. I have so many scripts in here now. Okay. Chat, let me know if, if that was an interesting read. Tell me right now, what do you think? Things I can change in this, off the cuff. If not, I'm going to go ahead and keep moving to a new script here. Let's see. Oh, wait. Okay. Let's see here. I think also it would be interesting to see, while we're doing this, how you guys is, what scripts you guys really like versus what I may really like, and sort of this back and forth. Okay. Mark Beatty, your script is, I didn't get the full script. It's just a screenshot. All right, let's see this. It's a little bit long. Okay. Let's try this one. Okay. So we've got an 11-page script here from Charlie. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, you guys are never going to get me to agree. You guys are never, ever going to get me to agree to endorse a dream sequence. I'm going to tell you that right now. Okay, we have Saucy by Charlie Sachs here. All right, so this one is 11-pager here. Also, Aurora saying it would have been better if Lewis had actually invited Oliver to check out the factory. He doesn't even have to invite him. I could see a world where Oliver just breaks in or something, and then we can have a confrontation that way. Or Oliver breaks in, goes to jail, and then Lewis comes and visits him, in prison and talks, essentially, gives his philosophy there. I think, let's keep things real world, let's actually create the costs of actually going after a want. You know what I'm saying? When you have dream sequences, you remove so much of the costs of going after something. So anyway, wow, we've got a lot of people on this stream right now. That is amazing. All right, so I'm gonna, keep. How long have I been streaming at this point? Okay, I've been live for almost an hour. Wow. Okay, cool. All right, and we're only one script through. All right. Okay. All right, so here we go. Script number 2. Fade in. Exterior road, day. A car speeds down a street. The young driver adjusts his polo collar as he checks himself over in the rearview mirror. A name tag on his shirt reads Doug. His polo and cap bear a matching pizza delivery logo. An undelivered pizza rests on the back seat. Meanwhile, over the top of these visuals, an earlier conversation between Doug and his boss can be heard. It's 12:33, Doug. Exterior road, moments later. The car races around a corner. The voiceover continues. I know, You think these pizzas deliver themselves? You think they just magically appear on people's doorsteps? Exterior road, church, moments later. Doug speeds past a church. Exterior, Claire's house, moments later. The vehicle screeches to a stop outside the house. Doug clumsily clambers out and wrestles the pizza from the back seat. Your work attitude is a mess. Because of you being late, we're now running late on 3 deliveries. I don't want to hear it. Take this to 105 Green Road. With the pizza in hand, Doug takes a step towards the front door. Surely I can trust that you'll at least get that right, and drops the pizza to the ground. His eyes widen. The pizza now a mushy mess on the concrete. Exterior road, church, moments later. Doug speeds past the church again, this time the opposite direction to last time. Exterior, Doug's house, day. Doug's car skids to a stop outside his house. We're the most popular pizza chain in London, and I'm not losing out to our competitors because of you. Doug climbs out and darts for the front door. Interior, Doug's house, moments later. A succession of quick cuts of Doug as he turns the oven on, opens the freezer. This is kind of fun. Withdraws a frozen pizza, places it on a tray, opens the oven, and throws it inside before a contrasting silent beat. Doug waits patiently as the pizza cooks, and then, ding. Exterior, Doug's house, continuous. With the fresh pizza in hand, Doug bursts outside and fumbles with his car keys as he wrestles it open. I don't want to hear any excuses. I'm telling you, Doug. Exterior, road, church, moments later. Doug speeds past the church once more. You're on your last warning. Exterior, Claire's house, driveway, moments later. Reappearing at the address, Doug carefully exits the car. He steps over the original pizza, splattered on the tarmac, and carries a new one to the front door. I hear about any more F-ups, you're out. Got it? Remember, the customer is our priority. Whatever they want, we provide. Knock, knock. Doug checks his watch as he waits, gasping for breath though trying desperately to hide it. Claire, 20s, cute, confident, answers the door, unimpressed, and inspects a rather disheveled Doug. 49 minutes? The guy on the phone said 30. Doug winces in despair. There was a problem with the pizza. Problem? But it's totally fixed now. The pizza's still warm. Doug smiles pleadingly. Claire considers for a moment, before glancing around and leaning in as if to tell a secret. Don't worry, I'm not going to say anything. Doug beams in relief, but I am going to need your help. Doug's eyes narrow as he glances between Claire and the pizza. Thanks, but I'm not hungry. Not with a pizza, dummy. In here. I just need your help with something. I don't know. It'll be quick, I promise. 10 minutes, that's all. And I won't tell anyone that you dropped the real pizza. They both glance at the mushy mess of cheese and tomato that was once a pizza on the driveway. A reluctant Doug concedes. Okay, fine. 10 minutes. Okay, fine. 10 minutes won't kill anyone. Interior, Claire's house, kitchen, moments later. A lifeless male body lies on the floor. Doug stands over it, glaring down in horror. Claire chomps off a slice of pizza, unfazed. What? Who is that? No idea. Is he okay? Claire shrugs and takes another bite of pizza. Doug gives the man a gentle nudge with his toe. Nothing. Well, don't we need to get him some help? That's what I need you for. I'm not a doctor. Take him to the hospital, dummy. You still haven't told me who he is. I don't know who he is. I was upstairs. I heard a loud noise down here. I came to investigate, and this guy was in the kitchen. So you killed him? He's not dead. Why don't you just ring an ambulance? No, we have to take him. It's quicker. Doug rubs his face in disbelief. I don't know. This is all a bit much. I'm just a pizza guy. Listen, Doug, I didn't want to say anything, but if you hadn't dropped that first pizza, you wouldn't have been late. And if you wouldn't have been late, this wouldn't have happened. Claire reaches for the telephone. What are you doing? Who are you calling? What was the number of where you work again? I'll just Google it. Doug dives across and intercepts. Okay, fine. We'll take him. Where's your car? Claire raises her eyebrows guiltily. Doug clocks on. You can't be serious. Doug and Claire struggle with the man as they tumble him into the back seat of Doug's car and close the door. Claire rubs her hands together. Okay, well, I think you can take it from here. Doug double takes. You're not coming? It'll be quicker with one. Plus, I've got my pizza. Doug groans. Claire unleashes puppy dog eyes, then smiles at Doug and embraces him unexpectedly. She straightens his name tag. Thanks, Doug. She spins on her heel and heads back inside. Doug stands for a moment, shell-shocked, sighs loudly, then opens the driver door. Wait, Doug straightens up, something suddenly occurring to him. You haven't paid. Interior Claire's house, moments later. The front door is still slightly ajar as Doug hesitantly enters. Hello? The house is quiet, no sign of Claire. Doug continues to move through the house. I still need the money. He pokes his head into the kitchen. It's empty. The pizza rests untouched on the kitchen counter. Doug frowns. For the pizza. A noise upstairs. Doug jumps. More noise. He shuffles towards the stairs. Interior Claire's house staircase continuous. Hello? More noise. Clunking, banging. Doug slowly creeps up the staircase. He arrives at the top and peers into the master bedroom. Unaware, Claire is busy filling a black bag with various items and valuables from drawers and cupboards. She inspects an iPod with her right hand and drops it into the bag. A black baklava in her left hand. Doug frowns but stays quiet. A photo frame hangs on the wall beside him. It's of the lifeless man and his wife and son. Doug's eyes widen. He processes this information with the look of a mathematician counting cards in a casino. And then, this isn't your house, is it? Claire spins around. That man wasn't an intruder. You're the intruder. Claire shakes her head to herself and drops one last item into the bag. You should have just done what I asked, Doug. You should have just driven away. Suddenly, Claire dives at him. Doug sprints for the stairs. Interior Claire's house staircase continuous. At the bottom of the staircase, Claire trips Doug and they wrestle to the ground. They roll along the carpet. Doug kicks Claire, sending her head crashing against the radiator. Doug clambers free and dives into the kitchen. Interior house, kitchen. In a serious daze, Claire rugby tackles him to the floor. Again, the pizza falls from the counter onto the tiles beside them. A radio also falls to the floor, turning on, providing a soundtrack to the chaos. That's fun. Taking control, Claire wraps her hands around Doug's throat and begins to strangle him. Doug flails in a panic. A piece of cheesy pizza, stray from the box, rests beside him. He tries to reach for it. It's just out of touch. Claire continues to throttle Doug. Finally, with all his might, Doug reaches for the slice of pizza and takes it in his palm and slams it against the radiator-inflicted wound on the side of Claire's forehead. She releases her grip around Doug's throat and drops to the floor, barely conscious. Doug, adrenaline surging, seizes his opportunity and climbs on top of Claire. With a pizza slice in each hand, Doug repeatedly clatters her around the face. Left, right, left, right. Blood-red tomato sauce splatters up onto his face and shirt. Left, right, left, right. Interior house, kitchen, moments later. Doug leans against the counter. He's caught his breath. He's covered in tomato sauce. He glares down at Claire's body. The pizza strewn around the floor. Bright red tomato sauce splattered across the tiles around her. He moves to the front window and checks outside. Then moves to the body, leans down and attempts to lift and drag her. He struggles and drops her in defeat. Doug rubs sauce from his face. The radio plays gently in the background. And now an advert chimes in. Chow's Oriental Chinese takeaway, 24-hour delivery all year round. For great deals, great prices, and even greater delivery times, call now. Doug's eyes widen as he's hit with an idea. Interior house, kitchen. With the phone to his ear, Doug waits for an answer. Hello, Chow's Chinese? I'd like to make an order for a delivery. Doug picks up an envelope from a pile of mail. Yeah, 105 Green Road. Send your strongest driver and make it quick, please. Fade to black. The end. That was good stuff. That was a fun read. I really kept pace. I was interested in what was going on. I was kept, the pace of this was strong. I think you had, good reveals at each point. So since this is a good, a pretty strong script, I want to look at a couple things here to kind of help some people out. So first off, what was this guy? Charlie, I like your script, dude. It's good stuff. So what Charlie does here in the beginning is let me make sure I'm good. Shoot. What Charlie does here in the beginning is he is setting up, the usual situation of this character, right? So the first little bit of this story is, him being late for pizza, right? So, and this is important to like establish and have, because we need to understand who Doug is and his character and all of that, right? So we have this whole thing in the beginning. Now, let's see, where does it have? Okay, so okay, so this is important right here. So we're a page in. Okay, so this first page here is establishing the bare minimum. This is a 10-page script. This has to move quick. We need to get into the story. So this first page here, we are getting just a quick, Doug is a pizza guy, he's late. That's all we need to know here. All we're learning here is Doug is a pizza guy, he's late. Page 2, right here, is with the pizza in hand. Doug takes a step towards the front door and drops the pizza onto the ground, right? Boom. So now we have the first unfamiliar situation, right? So this is small, right? This isn't life-changing. This isn't what it will become with literally a murderer in the house. But what this is this is adding to the tension, right? So if we're thinking about this in the sense of sort of a want and cost relationship, you should check out my video on story momentum to learn more about the want and cost relationship. So he gets what he wants here, right? When it gets to the house, right? He's trying to make this delivery. He gets to the house, great. But it comes at a cost. He drops the pizza to the ground. Now he's in a new situation. Because he got what he wanted and then failed, he dropped the pizza. Now we're in a new situation. Doug is going to have to adapt. So he goes on this fun, journey back to his house to cook this pizza. Boom. Interesting, fun. Then, now we are on page 3 now of a 10-page script, and he is back at the house. Now he is talking to the person he is, delivering this pizza to, right? And then, let's see. And then, so page 3 is essentially him getting there, him, talking about there's a problem with the pizza, but he fixed it. It's okay. But he's late still. So she has the power here because he's late. And if she tells his boss that he's late, then he's going to be in trouble. So then on page 4, we have, okay, halfway through page 4 here. This is really important. Halfway through page 4, we are in the thick of this now. Okay, this is the biggest unfamiliar situation. That first one was still, early. It was like a smaller piece of getting what he wanted, sacrificing, trying to, and then or messing up, and then trying to fix the problem. Now he's back. So now he's gotten what he wanted again, right? He has a pizza at this house, but now it's going to cost him something again. Now he's late, so she wants him to help him with something. So now he goes into the house, right? Do you see this? And this is 4 pages. Do you see this ebb and flow happening in this script? Like, do you see that want and cost relationship? Because it's an extremely important relationship to understand. We understand who he is. He wants to get the pizza to the house, but he messes up. He gets there, but he drops it. So now he wants to fix the problem. He goes home, makes a new pizza, he brings it, but it's going to cost him something. He is now late, and now she has power over him. So now that sends him into the next part, which is there's a lifeless male body on the kitchen floor, right? So now he is now in another new situation. So this flow of story momentum is what you want. So, Charlie, that stuff is really good. Now, what I would say to people asking if I'm going to save this stream, I absolutely will save this stream. It'll be back up for sure. Okay, so people looking for my other videos, go to I have like a fundamentals of screenwriting playlist, and I have like a free actually no, it should be in the description of the live stream right now. Or just check the channel, how to build story momentum, watch that video. And even in the video where I talk about, or the videos where I'm talking about story structure, it's the same concept, right? Where Okay, let's go Dan Harmon's story circle. Let's look at this. Can you guys see this? Yes, you can. Okay. Let's take a look at one of these. Whatever. Let's look at this one. Okay. So, can you guys see this okay? Yes, you can. Okay, so look at this over here. Oh, shoot. No. Okay. So, in his story, okay, his comedy thriller, he has his character, right? They want something. They want to bring this pizza to the house. That's their job, and they're worried about being late. But when they get there, so this is a, the biggest points are here and here. You could consider him being late as an unfamiliar situation, which is not as much, but he's trying to deliver this pizza very quickly. So he wants something, deliver the pizza, but he's late, right? So he's hurrying there. So he's adapting to that because he's trying to get there fast. So he gets what he wants. He gets to the house, but he pays a heavy price for it because he drops the pizza. So now he cannot return to a situation. So now we're back to here, right? He wants something. He wants to be able to bring the pizza back, right? So he gets what he wants when he's able to cook the pizza and bring it back, but he pays a price for it because now this woman wants him to come inside and help him with something, and oh my gosh, inside there's a lifeless body. So now he's back to here again. He's back to 2, right? He wants something. He wants to be out of this situation, right? He's now in this new unfamiliar situation. He's trying to figure out. So this works on, that is why the story circle can work on such a micro level and a macro level, because it is following this momentum of want and cost, of unfamiliar situation, of getting what you want, of paying for it and coming back. And so that's what I really like about this. So now one thing to note is in the other script, the circle does look like a pizza there, or a story octagon. The story pizza, that should be, I'll do a little stream highlight. That'll be the story pizza. So, yeah, so exactly. So Caven is saying kind of like the but and therefore rules. Yeah, so you want to have this flow. I think the South Park guys talk about this. You have this flow of like, this happens, but this happens, and this happens, therefore this happens. So Doug gets to the house, but he drops the pizza. Therefore, he has to go get a new one. But he's late now, therefore he has to help. So you have this sort of ebb and flow that you need to write it. So one thing I would talk about, this is a fun script, and what it is here to do is be a fun, comedy. There's even some decent jokes in there that work. That is the purpose of the script. It's a fun thriller comedy based story. Now the other script that we read, it is dealing with philosophical conflict. It is dealing with actual story ideas. So this is something that I've talked a lot about multiple different times. So I've talked a lot about this, or I've talked about this on my YouTube channel. So let's just go to my channel here. My channel. So in here, you can see, okay, so this video, I'm talking about the purpose of conflict. I'm talking about philosophical conflict in this video here. And so that is like your fundamental of a story that's not just going to be fun and entertaining, but actually is like, philosophically impactful. And, the greatest stories are the ones that are deeply philosophically impactful, as well as, fun or interesting or engaging in this and that. And so the other script that I read has a philosophical conflict going for it. And that, I think, makes it, that's something that he can actually build upon. Whereas this script isn't working with philosophical conflict, and it's not trying to be, and it doesn't need to be, because what this is a fun comedy-based thriller, right? That is the purpose of this script, and I think it works. And so, I would say, like, you want to, in general, right? If you're trying to write a script that's not, like, if you're trying to write a script that is more than just a fun story, I'm not downgrading those, but if you're trying to write a story that is sharing ideas or talking about a concept, or, like really looking at belief systems and philosophical conflict, which a lot of almost all great films are dealing with philosophical conflict. They're dealing with the beliefs of your characters. And when you are doing that, you want philosophical conflict to be the foundation and the fundamentals of your story. So like even here, so this is the course. I'm just going to show you this real quick. So in the course, there's this systematic rewriting lesson. So in this lesson, I am talking about, I don't know where it is specifically, but it's in here somewhere. But I also talk about it in my ebook. But essentially is you are building your philosophical conflict is going to be the core of your story. And so you start there when you're rewriting something like that other script that I looked at. So let me flip back over to this other script real quick. What was it? Mark. The thing with Mark's script that I think is really good is that he is trying to deal with a philosophical conflict. He's trying to deal with consumerism. He's trying to deal with these larger ideas. And so that is why, when you are rewriting, you should start with your philosophical conflict and then you build upon there. You go philosophical conflict up to characters. Let me see if I can actually find this in here. Okay, right there. Okay, so like this idea, right? And this is something I go in very in depth in this course, but you start with the philosophical stakes and when you're rewriting, and then you go up from there. So then you can go to what do your characters believe? What is your concept and genre? What is your structure? And you sort of rewrite with that in mind, and then you can build out. You can start taking a look at a script like this that has potential but is far from perfect. And then you can start actually building a story with stronger beliefs, with stronger characters, with active characters, that's well structured and this sort of thing. So, Mark, if you felt like I was hating on you or anything like that, I'm not. I think you have something in your script that a lot of people are lacking, which is that philosophical conflict, which is that those beliefs that are actually pushing a story forward. I talk about that in this Purpose of Conflict video, and I go in depth on rewriting and that sort of thing in the course. And so that is great that you have that. But Charlie, I think you have a really strong story here. Like really, Saucy. I really like this work, man. I think it works well. I think you also, so one thing I was interested to see if you could pull off was an actual ending that kind of worked, right? Because we're careening towards the end here. Oh, this is actually 9 pages. We're careening towards the end here, and it's like, okay, is he going to be able to pull this together in a way that's actually, interesting or whatever? Because you're not dealing with larger philosophical ideas. You're dealing with, this fun thriller that's going through. And I really liked how you ended this, because you have the loop essentially, which gives us like a fun enough ending, and is still satisfying for the, for this script. So Charlie, really good work. I was really happy about, I was really happy about that. It was fun. It was really fun to read. I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't really stop reading the whole time, and I didn't really like have to pause and give notes, because you had you have a strong story. I am okay. Let's see here. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and read another one. I don't know how long I'm going to stream, because, it does take some effort to read this and then kind of give my thoughts afterwards. And while I have so many thank you everybody who submitted. Thank you so much for submitting. This is amazing. There's so many scripts in here. I think there's something like 78. I have 81 emails, and I think a couple of them are duplicates. So I have something like 75 scripts in this now. So I'm trying to start from before and go forward. But let's see. Let's see what. So, yeah, Saucy was a fun title. So Con Camera Film says, what if you had a script that wasn't strong? I mean, that's the point of, so that's kind of the point of this whole stream. Like, if you don't have a script that's strong, like, I want to read it. Like, I'm here to help. I'm here to, give actual feedback and try to help people who don't have perfect scripts write better. If all, like, Charlie submitted a cool script, and that's great, and that's awesome. I'm very happy that he submitted something that was great, but submit scripts that aren't perfect. Mark's script was not perfect, and I feel like I had some good things to say about it. Like, part of writing is letting people read your script when it's not good. Finding people that you can actually trust to read your script and give feedback on it, because a massive part of writing is the rewriting process. If you do not know how to rewrite correctly, you're not going to be able to write a great script. You have to be able to learn the rewriting process. You need to be able to allow people to give feedback and find people that can give good feedback. And you need to be able to be okay with, writing stuff that's not great. That's why that is the reason that I the reason that I created this whole concept here in this whole rewriting section of this course was that I know scripts aren't perfect, and mine are. I've never written a perfect script in my life. I would say almost everything I've written is bad. I have some stuff that I really like, and I have certain things that I have worked on and have made good. And that is the process of writing. It is the rewriting process. It is understanding how to look at your script and actually solve your problems as a writer in a way that is helpful to you and actually creates a stronger script. So let's see. Let's see. I did go to film school. I did not enjoy my time there at all. But that's a whole nother stream for a whole nother time. All right, let's see. Okay. All right. What else do we have here? Okay, we have this is Temporarily Embarrassed Millionaire by Lane Blakely or Blackley, something like that. Let me pull this one up. Okay, temporarily an ambitious cashier at a small grocery store dreams of becoming something greater. However, he is frequently held back by his clumsy nature. All right, let me flip this over here. Before I hop into this one, how are you guys enjoying those? Is this helpful? Is this are you gaining anything from this, or is this a complete waste of time? I see that there's 400 of you here, so hopefully that means that somebody here is gaining something from this stream. But okay, let's see. Okay, so people are saying that this is helpful. That's good. That's good to know. All right. Oh, sweet. Oh, okay. All right. Great. Okay, people are really enjoying this. Fantastic. That's awesome to hear. I want to help you guys. I really think that this this channel and this channel this channel exists, truly exists to help people learn storytelling as far as I've gotten it. Part of my bad film school experience was simply that it seemed like nobody knew storytelling. Everybody knew how to use a camera. Everybody knew cinematography. Everybody knew the mechanics of production, but nobody knew how to like really tell a story, like actually tell a story. Like how actually does a narrative work? That was what I was missing in film school. And that is what I have dedicated myself to, because I love story. I have never been as passionate about cinematography or as about sound design or how a certain shot looked in a film. I like that stuff. It's great. Like, it's important, but it has never been like the core of like what has been, or that has, it's never been the core of my passion. And, my passion is this right here. My passion is what is on the piece of paper, there's I wanted to be an author for a very, very long time. That's what I was just fascinated by books. And so, this is nothing different. Story medium is like the least important thing. A screenplay and a novel or a short story, it's all the same. It's like, it's storytelling. And that's what I love. And that's what I'm interested in. So I'm way off track. I'm going to read this right here. So, all right. All right. Mike. All right. Interior, Leo's car, morning. Close up. Zzz. Oh, wait. No, it's not. I thought it was a vibration, whatever. The next one is vibration. Okay. Leo, our hero, snores away peacefully. Leo opens an eye to the world. He reaches over to grab his alarm clock to check the time. Medium shot. Leo rises as we now see he's sleeping in his car. Pressing a button on his car seat, he raises up, yawning and stretching. He is wearing a white undershirt. Once he's raised up, he releases the button, but the chair doesn't stop pushing forward. He tries to stop it. He presses the button, other buttons. He attempts to squirm out of the way, but it is all in vain. He is crushed against the steering wheel. Crunch. His nose contorts. He reaches for his work clothes and is very cramped. He forgets to take the hanger out of his shirt. EXT supermarket parking lot right after. Leo kicks open his car door and slides out. He runs over to the door of the supermarket. So excitedly, he trips over the curb. He stops at the door and reads a proclamation. Promotion day. One outstanding employee will be promoted to assistant manager. Qualities considered. Getting to work early, cleanliness, helpfulness. Leo brings out his phone and it said 6 a.m. He compares it to a sign on the door that says that the store opens at 7 a.m. He brings out his keys and unlocks the door. He pushes, but nothing happens. Okay. So this, okay, your script should never look like this page here. Like, this is just not how, again, script format doesn't matter. And I'm going to say that again and again. It doesn't matter as much, but this is just hard to read, right? You want things to be simpler to read. You remember, how did Saucy look? Right? You have 3 to 4 lines of action and then you have a space. Even if you have a full page of action, that's not the problem, but have spaces. This is full text. It's not really aesthetically pleasing, but it's not a big deal comparatively. He tries again. It doesn't budge. Eventually, he gives up and sits on the curb. Time passes, and Bud, fellow employee and antagonist, I would remove antagonist. Either you're gonna show us that he's an antagonist, or he shouldn't exist. Like, show us that he's an antagonist. Don't straight up say this guy's the antagonist. He gets out, walks to the door. He looks at the door and at Leo. He grabs Leo by the hanger, which Leo promptly removes, and Bud pulls the door open, hitting Leo in the face. So at that point, hitting Leo in the face, we understand that he's probably some sort of antagonist. So you can it's just redundant to say antagonist there. Interior supermarket right after. Bud and Leo go to their respective checkout counters. Leo looks up and sees a sign on the wall. Cleanliness is a must. Leo glances at Bud's station. It is a mess and Bud is lazily sitting there sleeping. Leo decides to clean his counter. He wipes off the counter and puts things back where they should be. He comes across a small pearly white picture. Leo picks it up and looks at it. It's a picture of his mom gifting him the car, and on the frame it says, "Happy birthday, love, Mom." He smiles and sets the picture down. Bang, the picture frame falls over. Worried, Leo lifts the frame to find that the frame and its stand have come apart. Leo tries to shove the two pieces back together, but nothing works. Then he gets an idea. Aisle. Leo walks down the aisle and stops by a glue bottle sitting on the shelf. On the bottle, it proclaims to be the strongest glue ever. He grabs it and starts to walk away, but is jerked back when the glue doesn't even budge. He rattles it and it doesn't move. He shakes furiously. Then something from above him falls on his head. Shaking it off, he slowly peels the glue off the shelf and returns to his counter. Checkout counter. Leo grabs the frame and slowly squeezes the glue onto the picture frame in the stand. After he's done, he checks it to see if it worked, and it did. He sets it down. But when he lifts his hand, the picture frame goes with it. It's stuck to his hand. He starts to try to pull it off, but that doesn't work. So he begins swinging his hand around, knocking things off and causing a mess. Bud looks up from his nap. Leo stops to see if he's making any progress, but the only thing that's changed is the picture of Leo's mom. The picture is now of Leo's mom trying to run over Leo in the car, and the caption, "I hate my boy." Leo starts swinging again and goes into the aisles, knocking things off the shelves. Meanwhile, the manager arrives for work. He is shocked at the mess, and Bud points to Leo. Leo finally breaks the frame off his hand and turns excitedly, but is crushed when he sees the manager and the look he's giving him. Cut 2. Interior supermarket bathroom later. Leo washes his hands to remove the glue. He grabs a paper towel, then bzzz, another one takes its place. He looks confused. He grabs another. He grabs one after another. We cut to Leo stuffing a large ball of paper towels into a trash can. Interior supermarket day. The manager reviews the troops. The staff are lined up and visibly bored as the manager holds up the assistant manager name tag. That is the prize. Leo, running from the bathroom, hurriedly joins the end of the line. The manager gives him a nasty look. The manager dismisses the staff and Leo zooms into the store to get started working. The manager dismisses the staff and Leo zooms into the store to get started working on impressing the manager. Aisle. Leo sweeps the floor. He finds a box that has fallen from the shelf above. He picks it up but can't reach the top shelf where it fell from, so he sweeps it under the shelf. Parallel aisle. Bud and Leah, another worker, walk down the aisle, not sweeping but talking. Bud realizes that Leo is on the aisle next to them and decides to play a little joke. He grabs a broom from Leah and pokes it through the shelf to the other aisle. Leo sweeps as, behind him, slam, a box falls off. He picks it up, confused, and sets it back on the shelf. He turns around and continues to sweep. Slam, it falls over again. He spins around, flustered, and sets it back on the shelf. Repeat. This time he watches it closely and does not turn around. But instead, Bud knocks a box from behind him down. He spins to catch it, and the box he was watching falls over again. Now he's really mad. He grabs both boxes and slowly slides them into place, but does not notice Bud slowly sliding a box from the top of the shelf off until it bonks him on the head. He goes berserk and starts fighting with the boxes until he spots the ruby red end of the broom handle. Parallel aisle. Bud yanks the broom hack, and him and Leah revel in their mischief. Then the manager shows up and takes the broom and asks them to move on and get busy. Curious as to what they were doing, he sticks the broom through the shelf. Leo, revenge in his eyes, spots the broom and, thinking it's still Bud, grabs it and pulls it, slamming the manager into the side of the shelf. They have a fierce game of tug of war. Then Leo sees Bud and Leo walk past him. He does a double take and lets go of the broom, and we only see Leo's contorted facial reactions to the bam, crack, slap as the manager goes through unknowable torture. Pretending like nothing happened, Leo sweeps some more. The manager turns the corner, grabs his broom, and hits him with it. Interior supermarket midday. The manager supervises the operations of his store. He checks the clock on the wall. It reads lunchtime. Excited for lunch, he puts on his hat and rushes out the door. As he goes, the other employees follow. This all comes to a head when they all try to go through the door at the same time. The manager has them all spread out and they look back at the customers staring wide-eyed at them. He stands in front of the door and explains that somebody has to take care of the customers. Nobody volunteers. Then Leo raises his hands. Also, I've been noticing, there's no dialogue in this, but you are having characters talk, but they're not, he's explaining that somebody has to take, if they're going to be talking, sorry. If they're going to be talking, they should be, where's this at? If they're going to be talking, they should be talking in dialogue, right? Like, we should actually be seeing them speak to each other. Where was I at? Yeah, so essentially, so far, one thing is, okay, so this was the same thing. I see this a lot. There is no, like, real active nature of, I don't know. I mean, I just need to keep reading. Like, this is not, I think it's just, like, the state, like, there's never, like, a rise of stakes, even within, like, the world of this. Like, everything is sort of just slowly happening. Okay. Like, the manager is, like, mad at him at a moment, like, with the whole broom thing. But that doesn't, like, end up change. Like, it doesn't change his situation. Like, the manager doesn't tell him to, oh, now he has to go do this, or now he's definitely not getting the assistant manager position or something like that. If that happened, then we would have this sort of new situation. Like, imagine if halfway through, or even that broom thing, you have the manager say, okay, you cannot be assistant manager, right? You've lost a chance. So the only thing that he's wanted this whole time is assistant manager, and now he can't get it, right? So now this creates this new interesting situation. What is he going to do? Is he going to take no for an answer? Is he going to try some crazy thing to earn the respect back of the manager? That creates this sort of, like, next level of conflict, right? That ebb and flow of conflict, you should move into another level of conflict where, like, things are building. There is momentum. When you have a scene like the broom scene and you go and nothing really happens to him, it's just like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, and then he sort of continues, then there's no real costs to his actions, right? And if there's no, like, hard costs to his actions, he doesn't have to act harder to get what he wants, right? If he was told by the manager right there that he lost the ability to, get assistant manager, then now he has to become even more active. He has to make a serious decision on how is he going to handle this problem? What is he going to do now that the one thing that he wants in the story has been fully taken from him? Is he going to accept that? What is he going to do? Okay. Okay. I think it was was I on this page? I think so. To those asking if this is going to be a regular thing, that is the goal, yes. The goal is for this to be a regular live stream. And I also will be posting these live streams on the channel, like the full cuts, and I'll also be doing highlight videos. So ideally, I'm going to be doing these once a week. We'll see how that goes, but that's the goal. Okay. So he checks the clock on the wall. It reads lunchtime. Excited for lunch, he puts on his hat and rushes out the door. As he goes, the other employees follow. This all comes to a head when they all try to go through the door at the same time. I read that. Okay, so the manager has them all spread out. He stands in front of the door. Somebody has to stay to take care of the customers. Nobody volunteers. Then Leo raises his hands. Everybody ready to get to lunch accepts his volunteering and rush out the door. The customers, not many of them anyway, line up at Leo's counter, and he begins to check them out. Meanwhile, Robber walks through the door. He wears a black shirt and is very nasty looking. Okay, so now we're going to have a raising of stakes, but this is not... But the protagonist is passive. He's not really doing anything. This is just something that's happening to the... protagonist. And if this is going to be the rest of the story dealing with this robber, then we're 6 pages in before the story enters that unfamiliar situation. Remember when I talked about that? About, you want to start, if it's not, then, fine. But if this is going to be what the rest of the story is about, dealing with this robber, this should be sooner. Like, page 2, page 3. Remember how fast Saucy got started and got moving and was hitting these points. That is what you want in a short script that's going to be this length. He watches as Leo bungles. He tries to scan their items, for instance. He knocks it off the counter. Then the robber sneaks back to the back of the store, nobody any wiser to his presence. Eventually, Leo gets everybody checked out. He looks around and decides to take a little break. He goes to the refrigerated section and grabs a Lunchable. Yeah, okay. What? Okay, so a couple things. There's a lot here, but one, I don't think you've really written a screenplay. Like you've written a short story that might have been done in script format or in Final Draft or something like this. Also, your biggest point is going to be this. Your robber coming halfway through the story is very, very, very late, because you seem to, you start with a setup of this is going to be about, assistant manager and him. I'm assuming at the end, So at the end, the police have arrived and arrested the robber. Manager and Bud run up to Leo waiting outside. The manager shakes Leo's hand. When he tries to let go, he can't start, but he doesn't know he's on cloud 9. Okay, so yeah, Leo becomes assistant manager, but he's clumsy. So one, I think this is just not really written like a script, at all. I think, the more I got into it, the more this is just not really a script. I think you need to write an actual script here. This is more of a short story. Now you can make it into a script, but I think the biggest thing is, you're going to start off. Okay. So there's a couple things. Sorry. Let me just focus here. Okay. So, number one thing, convert this short story into a script. You need dialogue, read some scripts, very simple. You'll be able to move that over. Absolutely avoid things like this. This just does not look good at all. Secondly, this story, okay, so here's a big thing, right? We get to the end of the story and, Leo gets what he wants, right? He gets what he wants. He gets the assistant manager position. So what? What does it matter, right? We don't really, it's so what? So this is, this comes back down to the idea of philosophical conflict and its role in a story. So if you're writing a script that's a horror or a thriller, right? Like we had with Saucy. There's no philosophical conflict in Saucy, and it works because of the genre that it's in, right? So the genre that you write in it is important, because there's a few genres like thrillers that are more like roller coasters than they are actual, deep stories and this sort of thing. This is a little bit where, you get in the Martin Scorsese talking about how he was Marvel films are theme park rides. What he's saying there, and what people don't get about what he's saying there, is that great stories largely will deal with philosophical conflict. They will deal with beliefs and characters, right? Your character believes something, and that creates the wants that they have. That creates what they're searching after. Check out my video, my videos on creating characters. To look at that, it's about building these wants and beliefs. There's not only do you have a want, he wants to be assistant manager, but why does he want he wants to be assistant manager, but why does he want to be assistant manager in a way that makes us truly care on a belief level, right? Like, the having, and then your robber is just a generic person who is coming to rob a place. All he is a placeholder for your main character to, take him down and get assistant manager. But we don't really care about his main want, right? His external want isn't really what is going to be impactful in a story, right? Like when we just watch when a character in a story, they get the girl or they get the job or they get the money or they get the whatever, it's like we don't really care, right? Like those are just, it's like, oh, okay, it happened. It was a good, it was a good 2 hours on a Friday night, but who cares, right? If you want to create that like real strength in a story, then you create character beliefs. You create those beliefs in conflict within your story. So, like you can even look at something I tell a lot of people, that if you are trying to figure out how to write like actual philosophical beliefs in a short story, because it feels like so hard, look at Rick and Morty, because it's short. It's like 20 minutes, and a lot of those episodes deal very seriously with what Rick believes. Not every episode does, but a lot of them like really go into what is his belief system. And a lot of the like B stories in those episodes, they look at the husband and wife relationship in that show, and they like sort of they explore like what people believe about marriage and surviving in it, and like being married in the modern world and all this stuff. And so that is what creates like this next level of depth and meaning and like longevity in a story. Like people will remember those sort of stories, I think, a lot more than they will like fun rides. And it's because they actually have something to say. They have character beliefs and conflict that, examine our world and this and that. I think like, you don't even have to completely, explicitly say exactly what a character believes in a short script to have, to actually like, to still have that philosophical conflict. Like I would even recommend, if I can pull this up, not budget, no, Whiplash short film. Is it available to be watched? Okay, so I think you can probably find this short film somewhere. But the Whiplash short film is already dealing with some of the philosophical conflicts that end up taking place in the actual movie. Like he talks about, like in that is, it's like being there for a reason, and why do you want to be a musician, and this and that, what is greatness. Like the short script is dealing with some of those ideas. And so I think that when you're writing a feature, when you're writing a pilot, or even when you're writing a short script, think about the genre of your script. If you're writing a thriller, just like a thriller only, it's got to be tight. If you responded to this and you said, oh, well, this is a thriller, so, which maybe it is, but, this is a thriller, so I don't need philosophical conflict. Great. Okay, then the robber needs to come in page 2, page 3, really soon, right? Or if this is, an exploration of an idea, of a philosophical idea, then you need to attach that to characters. How do your antagonistic forces actually, inform on an idea? I think that is what could be interesting about Mark's script, The Factory, that I read in the beginning of the stream, that he had a philosophical conflict in this short script. He had this question that he was asking about, what, like consumerism and handling those different ideas. I think one thing that could be interesting, and you have to like make an argument back and forth for those two different philosophical ideas and how they actually are interplaying in a story. And I think that so many stories, like we don't even think about philosophical conflict that much when we're writing stories, because it's like this lost idea, whereas the reality is that is the foundation for why stories exist, like in humanity, as like a mental concept that we hold, right? like that. We tell each other stories because it's like examining ways to live or showing other people ways to live. Like, archetypal stories are that, like, stories about being courageous and this and that. Like, they're so kiddish to us now, but the reality is that these stories are teaching us the general concepts of how to live. Then, obviously when we get older, then we can look at other types of stories. We can look at other, we look at other stories that are deeper and have like more complicated philosophical conflict. And so, yeah, like I think that for that script, there's focus on one, putting it in script format. Number two, if you're going to have it like start your robber way earlier. And three, like think about like what you're actually like studying in this script. Like it's, as well as looking at structural momentum and finding this want and cost relationship, like I talked about with like the broom thing. Like have him, potentially like he's told he can't get it at this point, and then now the robber comes, and this is the thing that he's able to use to actually get it back, because it's this crazy new situation that he's able to capitalize on to then get it. But tighten that up. Like I think you have pieces of that in there, but you need to tighten it up. You need to make it stronger and actually, compelling on a page to page basis, because I think what you had was just really slow. I think you had a lot of so much of the beginning was completely unnecessary. But if you don't know what philosophical conflict is, I recommend watching this video of mine right here. This is a video called The Purpose of Conflict. It will give you... I'm also making new videos on this topic pretty soon. Very soon, actually. It's going to be very soon. But yes, this is a massively overlooked concept in writing, and so let's see. Let's see. I've been streaming for almost 2 hours now. Wow. Okay. So I'm gonna probably stop reading for today. I had no idea I was gonna get this many scripts. This is crazy, and it's great. It's great. I want to, I want to read more. I want to read more of your guys' stuff. I'm going to do this more, and I'm going to post this video as a video on my channel. So if you, if you want to come back to it, and I'm also like, this stream was very focused on like reading specifically. Hopefully in the future I want to do a little bit more Q&A and just have people answer or have people ask questions, and have people we can just talk about story, and I can give you some more ideas on that. But look, the way as I end, the way that I look at stories and the way that I focus on rewriting is very simple, and this is the stuff, these ideas, once you get them and once you understand them, it massively helps how you can rewrite your stories, and how you can look at a first draft, and how you can say, okay, how do I actually look at the problems in my story? And this concept here is like a quick, just a quick triangle of this idea, but I go very in depth in this, and going into different examples and stuff. So if you did want to get in the course, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about how to, rather than having me read scripts and give concepts, what I'm going off of is not actually that complicated. There's a few core fundamentals of writing and rewriting, especially. When you're writing that first draft, it's about getting that first draft done. It's about actually getting to the end, because so many people, and this is something that I struggled with for so long, they don't finish. They just are sitting on 30-page scripts, and they never actually get to the end of that script. And I think that sucks. And I think that the reason that people do that is because they're so scared of writing something bad. They want their first thing to be this masterpiece off the bat, and that's just not how you write. It's not how you get better as a writer, and you have to learn how to finish. You have to build your writing habits, and that's another, like the other major section on the course is talking about that. It's talking about actually finishing that first draft of that feature and how to do it. But yeah, like the core of rewriting, the core of writing is simple fundamentals. It's about hammering those fundamentals into your brain by writing multiple scripts and by rewriting and by looking at the scripts that you have and saying, okay, how do I fix these problems? How do I find the problems that are specific to me, that are the problems that I specifically struggle with, and how do I go about actually solving those issues? I am very happy that you guys have been interested in this first stream. There will definitely be more of these. Some of them will be longer. Some of them will be shorter. This is a lot of talking for me. Just 2 straight hours of talking is a lot. So, I've got to kind of lean into this a little bit. But you all are awesome. Thank you for everybody who watched the stream. And I will I'll see you all soon. All right. Bye, guys.